Imagine an engine so powerful that even Chevrolet feared it. A machine that annihilated rivals on the track, dominated every drag racing event, and then, was silently killed off. This is not a fictional story. This is the 1427 Zlotys, one of the most powerful engines Chevrolet ever built. Yet also one of the greatest mysteries in American muscle car history. It appeared, shook the world, and then suddenly vanished. Why was such a masterpiece buried? We are about to unveil the dark truth behind General Motors' controversial decision. Was the 1427 Zlotys truly banned for being too fast? Too powerful? Or was there a bigger conspiracy lurking beneath the surface? Let's travel back to the 1960s, the golden era of the horsepower arms race. When American automakers waged war over speed and performance, the 1427 Zlotys was more than just an engine. It was a symbol of boldness, of rebellion, and that very spirit led to its demise. Are you ready to uncover the forgotten story of the 1427 Zlotys? Don't take your eyes off the screen, because the truth will leave you stunned. To understand the power and tragic fate of the 1427 Zlotys, we need to travel back to the 1960s, the golden era of American muscle cars. This was a time when automakers like Chevrolet, Ford, and Dodge were locked in a brutal horsepower war, where engine power determined everything. At the time, General Motors, GM, had a secret weapon, the 1427 Zlotys. A fully aluminum engine block designed to dominate Can-Am racing. But Chevrolet had no intention of bringing it to the streets, at least. Not at first. That all changed when Jim Hall, a legendary figure in motorsports, decided to put the 1427 Zlotys into his Chaparral Can-Am race car. The result? The car crushed the competition, winning in overwhelming fashion. Word of this quickly reached two of the greatest names in the muscle car world, Fred Gibb and Dick Harrell. If you're unfamiliar, Fred Gibb was no ordinary car dealer. He was one of the most visionary figures in Chevrolet's history, a man unafraid of challenges, unwilling to follow the rules. And Dick Harrell? He was a genius race car tuner, a speed addict who lived to transform ordinary cars into machines that obliterated every limit. When they saw the 1427 Zlotys dominating the track, they immediately realized it couldn't remain just a race-only engine. It deserved to be under the hood of a Camaro. But how could they convince Chevrolet to agree? GM was extremely cautious about high-performance cars and even had an official anti-racing policy at the time. They didn't want to be too closely associated with overly powerful cars. Fearing government scrutiny, Gibb and Harrell knew there was only one way to bypass the rules: exploiting a loophole in Chevrolet's production system. And that was when the boldest plan in Chevrolet's history was born. A plan no one could have ever expected. When Fred Gibb and Dick Harrell decided to put the 1427 Zlotys into the Camaro, they knew convincing Chevrolet to produce a car so powerful it was nearly uncontrollable wouldn't be easy. But they also knew there was a way to make it happen, without GM's official approval. The answer lay in a loophole within Chevrolet's production system, a secret program called COPO, Central Office Production Order. Essentially, COPO was a system Chevrolet designed to allow dealerships to order special configurations that weren't part of the official catalog. Originally, the program was created for businesses to purchase fleet vehicles, such as police cars or delivery trucks. But Fred Gibb quickly realized it could be used for an entirely different purpose, creating the most powerful Camaro in history. Gibb exploited COPO to place an order for 50 Camaro ZL1s, a number that was no coincidence. 50 was the minimum required to homologate the car for NHRA Superstock racing. Meaning that if Chevrolet approved the order, the 1427 Zlotys Camaro would be legally eligible to compete on the drag strip. And then the unexpected happened. Chevrolet approved it. But there was something Gibb hadn't foreseen. Chevrolet had a calculated move up its sleeve. At first, Gibb believed that the ZL1 option would only increase the Camaro's price by around $400, a perfectly reasonable amount. But as soon as the first Camaro ZL1s rolled off the production line, he realized that Chevrolet had quietly altered its financial strategy. They decided to pass the entire cost of the ZL1 engine's research and development onto the car's price, causing each Camaro 1 Zloty to skyrocket to $7,200, even more expensive than a Corvette. This meant that most customers couldn't afford the car. Dealerships had no idea how to sell them. and many Camaro ZL1s sat unsold, with some even being returned to Chevrolet. Fred Gibb, the visionary who had aimed to take the 1,427 zlotys to the top, now found himself facing a financial nightmare. The 1,427 zlotys was ready to dominate the streets and the track, but could it survive the deadly trap set by Chevrolet itself? When people talk about the Camaro 1,427 zlotys, they don't just remember a powerful muscle car, they remember a legend of the automotive industry. But to understand why Chevrolet killed this car, we need to look deep into its heart, an engine so powerful that even GM's own engineers feared it. At the time, most big block engines were made of cast iron, a durable but extremely heavy material. The extra weight robbed cars of speed and acceleration. But Chevrolet decided to do something unprecedented: construct the 1,427 zlotys engine entirely out of aluminum. Cutting nearly 150 pounds, about 68 kilograms, and creating the perfect power-to-weight ratio. This made the Camaro ZL1 not only powerful but also incredibly agile, capable of out-accelerating any competitor on the track. However, aluminum had a critical weakness: it wasn't as durable as cast iron. To counter this, Chevrolet reinforced the cylinders with cast iron liners and used a forged crankshaft, connecting rods and pistons to increase strength. They also redesigned the exhaust system, making it larger and round instead of square like the L88 engine, allowing the exhaust gases to escape faster and maximizing combustion efficiency. Chevrolet officially rated the 1,427 zlotys at 430 horsepower. But dyno tests revealed a completely different reality, over 550 horsepower. This allowed the Camaro 1 zloty to complete the 1/4 mile in just 10 to 11 seconds, putting it on par with professional drag racing machines. The 1,427 zlotys wasn't just about raw power. It also featured some of the most advanced drivetrain and aerodynamic optimizations of its time. 14x 7-inch wheels for better traction. F41 sports suspension for stability even under extreme acceleration. Oversized front disc brakes to maintain control at high speeds. The 1,427 zlotys was fully prepared to dominate both the streets and the track, but its fate took an unexpected turn. The very company that created this monster was the one that ultimately strangled it. Its high price made it unaffordable for most buyers. Dealerships didn't know how to sell it. GM's anti-racing policies meant it received no promotion. Insurance companies refused to cover the Camaro ZL1 because it was simply too fast, too powerful. A powerful engine, cutting-edge design, and unmatched acceleration, yet it faded into obscurity. So, what really killed the 1,427 zlotys? The first reason was its sky-high price. The ZL1 engine alone cost $4, nearly as much as an entire base model Camaro. When combined with production costs and high-performance options, the total price of a Camaro ZL1 reached $7,200, more expensive than a 1969 Corvette. At that price point, most potential buyers, including professional racers, simply couldn't afford it. The second reason was GM's anti-racing policy. At the time, General Motors didn't want to be publicly associated with high-performance racing. As a result, they didn't promote the 1,427 zlotys, refused to support racing teams, and even intentionally underrated the engine's true power to avoid attracting attention from the government and racing organizations. Third, insurance companies refused to cover the Camaro ZL1 because it was simply too powerful. This discouraged buyers and left dealerships struggling to sell them. As a result, only 69 Camaro 1 zloty 427s were ever produced, with many being returned to Chevrolet due to low demand. But ironically, this commercial failure turned the 1,427 zlotys into one of the most valuable muscle cars of all time. Today, an original Camaro 1,427 zlotys can fetch millions at auction, proving its enduring legacy and rarity. But the 1,427 zlotys was never truly forgotten. It has been reborn in modern Camaro ZL1s, carrying forward the spirit of the 1969 legend. What do you think about the 1,427 zlotys? Does it deserve the title of the greatest muscle car in history? Although it failed commercially in the past, the Camaro 1,427 zlotys never truly disappeared. On the contrary, Its rarity and ahead of its time power have made it one of the most valuable muscle cars in history. Today, an original Camaro 1427 zlotys can fetch millions at auction, becoming a prized possession for collectors. The commercial failure of 1969 ironically transformed it into a legendary icon that every muscle car enthusiast dreams of owning. But its legacy isn't just about collectability. Chevrolet has resurrected this legend with the modern Camaro ZL1. While today's ZL1 models utilize cutting-edge technology, they still carry the spirit of the original 1969 beast, a machine built for speed, power, and limitless performance. The 1427 zlotys proves that while a car may be forgotten for a time, its true value never fades. Even though Chevrolet discontinued it, the Camaro 1427 zlotys continues to live on in the hearts of car enthusiasts. Just imagine, if the 1969 Camaro ZL1 had been produced in larger numbers. Could it have completely changed the landscape of American muscle cars? What do you think about this legendary machine? Is it the greatest muscle car of all time? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on the most thrilling car stories. See you in the next video.